let's go ahead and talk about the Boston Celtics losing to the Denver Nuggets. Now, if you paid attention and if you listened on previous podcasts, then you'd know that I said, and I have the opinion that the Boston Celtics are the best team and the team to beat in the East. Now, I only said the East. In the West, there are a lot more teams that have good possibility of beating them and competing against them. One of those teams being the Denver Nuggets. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at the box scores real quick just to show the stats. So Nikola Jokic, he ended the game with a triple-double, as per usual. And as per usual, when he ends the game with a triple-double, the Nuggets end up winning. So he had 32 points, 11 assists, and 12 rebounds. And by far was the best player on the floor and the most outstanding player on the floor. He didn't shoot any three-pointers. However, he shot 11 for 19 from the field. Super efficient, great basketball player. In my opinion, he is going to end his career as king, Mr. Triple-Double and the king of triple-doubles. Russell Westbrook, he held that name for a while, but I think Jokic is definitely much better and much more efficient than Russell Westbrook. And his triple-doubles, I feel like they bring a lot more value to his team than Russell Westbrook's triple-doubles. And he makes it feel a lot more natural. Like, Russell Westbrook's triple-doubles, they look much more forced compared to Nikola Jokic. And part of that is because, since he's a point guard, he is forced to go down there and get rebounds. So that means he has to drop from the perimeter to go get rebounds. So not to mention his assists, they also look like they're forced as well. There are opportunities, and there are actually several clips where Russell Westbrook, he makes a pass, or unnecessarily, and he could make the layup if he actually just went up, but instead he decided to pass for whatever reason. And again, like I mentioned with the rebounds, he always drops down from the perimeter to try and go get the rebounds, meaning that he tends to leave a lot of his defenders open, or a lot of his the people that he's guarding open from three, which affects the team because he's allowing open shots. But meanwhile, Jokic, he's already in the paint and he's already the tallest player, so rebounds are like a given. What's really impressive are the assists, because it's like he has eyes behind his back. He has the exact same playmaking skills as LeBron James, in my opinion. Now, Jamal Murray, he ended the game with 19 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, very impressive. Aaron Gordon ended the game with 16 points and 9 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. wasn't that good in this game. Only 9 points in 30 minutes. He did not shoot the ball very particularly well, but that didn't really matter because Jason Tatum didn't shoot the ball particularly well either in this game. So now we're gonna look at the Boston Celtics side. So Jason Tatum, he ended the game with only 15 points, 5 of 13. And Kristaps Porzingis ended up shooting more shots than Jason Tatum. Now, I don't agree with that whatsoever. Jason Tatum is the number one option. There should not be anyone else taking more shots than Jason Tatum, especially over someone I guess the game plan was try and bully Jokic, given how Jokic isn't that good of a defender, but it just wasn't working for Kristaps tonight. He ended the game shooting 9 of 23 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3 with 24 points. And that poor shooting definitely played a part in the Boston Celtics being unable to win this game, and Jason Tatum refusing to take a lot of shots for whatever reason. And Jaylen Brown, however, he showed up in this game. He ended the game with 41 points and shot 16 of 29 from the field. This has sort of been the problem with Jason Tatum. It's every single time that there is an important game, he just doesn't shoot the ball as much. Now, there are moments, he has clutch moments. I'm not saying that he doesn't have clutch moments, but it's the really, really big games. And I guess, in hindsight, that's not really bad because it's he can make it all the way to the Eastern Conference. But at this point in the Celtics, tenure with him, they're tired of just making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. they want to win. And if Tatum can't really like perform well in these huge games, how can they rely on him to win in the future? It's a very difficult problem with Jason Tatum, and I'm sure he got absolutely flamed on Twitter, given how like there are a lot of Kobe fans, and those Kobe fans were probably out there attacking Tatum for underperforming in this game. But again, it's a very huge problem, and the Celtics, they were the favorites going into this game, and they should have been able to at least make it competitive. With like the fact that Tatum didn't take like the second most shots at least on the team just does not make any sense to me. Why was he refusing to shoot? And this was a great game, and it really shows like that the Denver Nuggets, they're still here, and they can still compete with any team in the league, even with and the Boston Celtics, they've been losing in a lot of other games. They recently lost to the Cavs the other day, if you remember when I covered that game on my NBA recap, and now losing to Denver. It's like these are competitive teams. These are teams that you're probably going to see in the playoffs. And the reason why it's such a big deal is because the Nuggets, they beat the Celtics every single time in the regular season. This season they've won every single game. And it's scary. It's very scary because this is supposed to be the year for the Boston Celtics. This is arguably their best team that they've assembled in a while. This is a super team almost. I mean, they have the chemistry from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They also have the chemistry coming off the bench, Al Horford, players like that. Adding Kristaps, he's a great defensive option given how tall he is, and he's a shooter. Drew Holiday, a great point guard that can defend. Well, a good point guard that can defend and is really good on the offensive side of the ball. I already mentioned Jaylen Brown, who he's the second option and was arguably the best player in the final series against Golden State. And then there's also Derek White, who, while he might not be consistent on offense every single night, he's very consistent on defense, and that's what makes the Boston Celtics stand out. It's their defense, and I say this countless of times. Defense is always going to be a lot more reliable in the playoffs than offense. However, they tend to shoot a lot of threes. Now, this could be good and bad. Like, shooting a lot of threes could obviously get you a lot of points, but like you gotta make those threes. And if there comes a point in the playoffs where they just can't make any threes, where do they go from there? Like, we saw this problem with the Houston Rockets all the way back in 2018, where they missed 29 straight three-pointers, yet they were somehow able to keep the game close against the Golden State Warriors, who have KD, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins wasn't there. Pardon me, that's my bad. No, just KD, just Steph, just Klay, and Draymond, and Iguodala and Sean Livingston, all those players that come off the bench. And they were able to keep that game close. If Houston would have made at least like 2 or 3 more three-pointers when they were missing all of those three-pointers straight, they would have ended up winning the game. But it was because they were relying on the three ball so much that they ended up losing that game, and they just couldn't really recover from that. That was Houston's time. That was Houston's opportunity to win something and to win a title with James Harden at the helm and James Harden winning the MVP. That was their time, and they blew it. And this problem could happen for the Boston Celtics as well. And this game is definitely going to affect Jason Tatum in the MVP standings. I was just in a meeting earlier, and we were having a discussion whether or not Jason Tatum is top 5 in the NBA, and considering like how he's top 5 in MVP voting. Now, obviously, like Jason, he's not top 5 in the NBA. And now he's top 5 in MVP voting solely because he is the best player on the best team. The best player on the best team gets gets top 5 MVP by it gets top 5 in the MVP rankings by default. And it really seems like Jason Tatum, he's not the best player in the NBA. Like he's not top 5 in the NBA. The team is good and like they have an overall great team, but like him as an individual, no, he's not top 5. Please, LeBron James is better than him, and people won't put him in his top 5 for some reason. A lot of people won't put LeBron in the top 5 current players right now, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. I do think that LeBron is better than Tatum. I think Luka Doncic is better than Tatum. I think Giannis is better than Tatum. I think Shai is better than Tatum. And let's think, who else? Who else is better than Tatum? Joel Embiid, when he's healthy, he's better than Tatum. And let me think. I have to think off the top of my head. If I didn't say Steph Curry, yeah, Steph Curry, he's better than Jason Tatum. And I just named 5 right there. I could keep going. Nikola Jokic, he's better than Jason Tatum. And again, there's so many other players in the league. Kevin Durant, and like, I mean, I don't want to say Devin Booker. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say Devin Booker. But there's so many like other players that actually, wait a minute. There might be an argument for Devin Booker. Now that I think about it, I mean, Devin Booker is definitely like he's the better scorer between the two, but I don't think he's a better defender than Jason Tatum. So the jury's still out for that one. But I already named like 5 players that are better than Jason Tatum, and it also shows in the season that they've been better. Now, this doesn't really affect the Boston Celtics much, simply because like they're probably going to win the East. And like, hopefully they could end up winning the East. I really don't think there's a team in the East that could compete against them. It's more so the West that I'm worried about for that team. Like teams like the Denver Nuggets and teams like the Clippers and maybe, well, I can't say Minnesota now because they just lost Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think Oklahoma is going to make it that far, but arguably maybe even Phoenix. Phoenix could make it far, and if Luka pulls off some sort of miracle again, we could see him in the finals this year with Kyrie Irving. So, but then again, like this is all just like all of the teams in the West. They're very, very competitive, and they're all very good. Now, the Celtics, like obviously, like in the East, the competition is a little bit easier for them, so it's almost like guaranteed that they're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. If they don't, it's going to be disappointing. If they do make it and they lose, it's still going to be disappointing. So a lot of pressure on the Boston Celtics. But with that, we are out of time for this first segment. So now we are going to go into the second segment and talk about Stephen Curry leaving the Bulls game with an ankle injury. So I will be right back after this short break.